darkness among the haunted trees. The moon was a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas. The road was a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor. And the highwayman came riding, riding, riding. The highwayman came riding up to the old inn door. His hat cocked high on his forehead, a bunch of lace at his chin, a coat of claret velvet and breeches of brown doe skin. They fit without a wrinkle, his boots reached up to his thigh. He rode and his jewels sparkled, his pistol butt sparkled, the rapier hilt sparkled under the jeweled sky. Over the cobbles he clattered into the dark courtyard. He tapped his whips on the shutters, but it was locked and barred. He whistled a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's dark-eyed daughter? Yes, the landlord's daughter, twisting a dark red ribbon into her long black hair. Oh, it was cold and dark in the courtyard as the stable boards did creak, and someone else was waiting for the highwayman to speak. His eyes were hollows of madness, his hair as coarse as the hay. He wanted the landlord's daughter, the landlord's red-lipped daughter. Dumb alone he listened and heard the highwayman say, "Just one kiss, my sweetheart. I'm after a prize tonight, and I'll be back with yellow gold before the morning light. But if they do get wind of me before and force me to hide by day, then look for me in the moonlight, watch for me by the moonlight. I'll come to you by the moonlight, though hell should bar the way." He did not come at dawn, no, he did not come at noon. And out of a tawny sunset before the rise of the moon, when the road was a gypsy ribbon looping the purple moor, a red coat troop came marching, marching, marching. A red coat troop came marching up to the old inn door. They said no word to the landlord, they drank his ale instead. They gagged and bound his daughter to the foot of her narrow bed. Two of them knelt at her window with muskets at their side. There was death at every window and hell at one dark window. She could see the road through her window where the highwayman would ride. They tied her up at attention, poised for a final test. They tied a musket beside her with the muzzle beneath her breast. She watched the road as they mocked her, and his voice in her heart would say, "Look for me by the moonlight, watch for me by the moonlight. I'll come to you by the moonlight, though hell should bar the way." She twisted her hands behind her, but all the knots held good. She twisted her hands till her fingers were wet with her sweat and blood. Her fingers strained in the darkness as the hours crawled by like years. And then, on the stroke of midnight, dead on the stroke of midnight, the tip of her fingers touched it. The trigger was at last hers. She stood up at attention, poised for her final test. Up she stood so bravely with the muzzle beneath her breast. Would her pounding heart betray her as she made her fateful choice? As the road lay bare in the moonlight, blank and bare in the moonlight, and her blood ran hot in the moonlight at the thought of her lover's voice. Steel on the wind, did they hear it? Steel, hooves ringing clear. Steel on the wind in the distance, were they deaf that they did not hear? Down the ribbon of moonlight, over the brow of the hill, the highwaymen came riding, riding, riding. The redcoats aimed their muskets. She stood up, straight and still. Steel in the frosty distance, steel in the echoing night. Nearer and nearer he thundered. Her face was like a light. Her eyes grew wide in the moment that she drew one last deep breath. Then her finger moved in the moonlight. Her musket shattered the moonlight, shattered her breast in the moonlight. She warned him with her death. He turned and spurred in retreat. He did not know who stood. Bowed with her head over the musket, drenched in her flowing blood. Not till dawn did he hear it, and his face turned white as a dove, to learn that the landlord's daughter, the landlord's black-eyed daughter, died in the hands of the redcoats, killed by her selfless love. Back he spurred like a madman, shouting a curse to the sky, with the right road smoking behind him and his rapier brandished high. Blood red were his spurs and the golden moon as red as his velvet coat. When they shot him down on the highway, down like a dog on the highway, and he lay in his blood on the highway with a bunch of lace at his throat. And still on a winter's night, they say, when the wind is in the trees, when the moon is a ghostly galleon tossed upon cloudy seas, when the road is a ribbon of moonlight over the purple moor, a highwayman comes riding, riding, riding. A highwayman comes riding up to the old inn door. Over the cobbles he clatters into the dark courtyard. He taps his whip on the shutters, but they're all locked and barred. He whistles a tune to the window, and who should be waiting there but the landlord's black-eyed daughter? Yes, the landlord's daughter, twisting a dark red ribbon into her long black hair.